Hi, and welcome along to AFTV Transfer Daily, the show that keeps you up to date with players that have been linked with a summer transfer move to Arsenal. First of all, before we get into all the transfers, the show today is brought to you by a.f.c Sport, and they put to us this conundrum. They did it in the podcast with DT, and they're doing it again today, putting to us this conundrum. Watch this video here.
My unpopular opinion is that Manchester United won't win the league for another 10 years. I think in general, they're stuck by what they used to be. And I think the fact that they've got Solskjaer proves that they're really harping for the days where they used to walk the league. But it isn't going to happen anymore because Manchester City arrived, Liverpool are back to being a very good team once again. I think until they let go of what they were, until they embrace that they're another club, badly run if I'm being totally honest, under Ed Woodward, until they embrace that fact, they will never be at the very top of the Premier League again. I think they need to let go.
Right there, so that's the question that a.f.c Sport want to ask. The link is in the description. Will Manchester United win the Premier League in the next decade? You know what? Forget about that. Will Arsenal win the Premier League in the next decade? That's what I want to know. I really do feel that at the moment, it's like a rebuilding process for Arsenal. It's sort of like leaving the old, which is the Arsene Wenger era, which, let's have it right. I mean, even though the manager came in last season, he had minimal transfers, and rebuilding now for the future. And that's a valid question. You know what I mean? As I said, you know, the link's in the description to answer it about Manchester United. If they don't get their act together, I don't think they will win it in the next 10 years. But Arsenal, will Arsenal win it in the next 10 years? Boy, not until we get our act together as well. You can see you've got to spend money in this division, and you've got to also get your transfers right. And that's one of the things we haven't done. You know, we've just not been able to... Our transfer business has been terrible when I think about it. I mean, we spoke about it in the podcast, and if you get along and watch that podcast titled It's Not Only Stan Kroenke's Fault, it's brilliant that we've done with DT this week. But one of the things we spoke about was just the mismanagement of transfers and how we've allowed players to leave for nothing, and we've just had no assets. You know, when I look at, you know, what Chelsea, they're moving Hazard on, which obviously that's going to be a major blow to Chelsea, because Hazard, of course, their number one player, is an excellent player. But they're getting over £100 million for him. So they can use that money and reinvest into other players. Contrast that with Arsenal, who've probably moved one of our best players on this summer from midfield, Aaron Ramsey, and have got absolutely nothing. That is a result of mismanagement of the highest order of Arsenal over the past few years. And this is what Unai Emery and the guys trying to get everything together are having to cope with at the moment, just that we haven't really got that money to spend. Interestingly, yesterday, Arsenal released their players and the list of players that they've released. Aaron Ramsey, of course, on that list. Petr Cech. Charlie Gilmour has been at Arsenal, feel sorry for him, he's been at Arsenal, I think, since he was a young kid, has been released. Cohen Bramall, remember him? Brought in by Arsene Wenger out of the blue, hasn't really happened for him, hasn't had a chance really. He's moving on. Stefan Lichtsteiner we know about. Giulio Plazaglio, probably pronounced that wrong, sorry Giulio, but again, I thought he was a pretty talented kid. I was really surprised that Arsenal have let him go. I just feel that he's a player that in the future we'll be hearing about again, going to a club and doing really, really well. And of course, Danny Welbeck, who Arsenal released as well. Bit of a shame for Welbeck because he's been blighted by injuries since he's coming to Arsenal. So it's a real rebuilding process for Arsenal. And if we are to win a title within the next 10 years, we've really got to get ourselves organised and no more of this terrible transfer dealing where we've allowed our best assets to leave the club for virtually nothing. Now, Arsenal today linked with Yannick Carrasco, and the links are really hotting up about this one. Carrasco, of course, plays over there in China for Dalian Yifang. Reports coming out of Spain is that Arsenal have made an offer to sign him, and, you know, they're just awaiting this Chinese club to let them know if the offer's been accepted. Carrasco, of course, said during the week that a team in Europe had made an offer for him, but refused to say who the club was and from which league they came from, which sort of kind of hints that it could be Arsenal, because Maybe he doesn't want to get it out there that it is Arsenal. If he said the Premier League, everyone's going to assume it was Arsenal. You know, who knows what's going to happen with this one, but he's struggling to adapt in China. He's already said he wants to come back. His family's not been able to adapt to China at all. The problem is, how much will this deal be? We know that Arsenal have a limited budget. He would fit the bill perfectly. He's a very, very talented winger, was excellent at Atletico Madrid. It was a real shock when he decided to go to China. So Yannick Carrasco, we're going to have to keep our eyes on. Now, Arsenal also linked with a player who plays over there in Spain again in La Liga, plays for Eibar. His name is Joan Jordan. He's got a 15 million euro release clause, only 24. Now, Arsenal have made an inquiry for the playmaker, and he had a very good season for Eibar last year. There's been a lot of clubs having a look at him due to the season that he had, but he's a playmaker, midfield playmaker, and at 24, good age. Again, could this be sort of a Ramsey replacement that Arsenal are looking at? Arsenal, West Ham, Sevilla, Villarreal, all interested in Joan Jordan. So let's see how this one shapes up as well. Dejan Dakenham, again, another player plays in La Liga. We've spoken about him already over the course of programs we've been doing here on Transfer Daily. He plays in La Liga for Getafe, 27 years of age, so a very experienced centre-back. Arsenal said to be still very interested in getting his signature. Of course, we're looking at loads and loads of centre-backs at the moment, and that's only right to do. You know, we all know the rumours with Saliba and Upamecano and all these different players. But Arsenal said to be still very interested in this guy. Everton also heavily interested in him as well. So, again, this is why we have to look at lots of different players in different positions in, you know, for what we require, because every player nowadays that's doing well is going to come to the prominence of all the big clubs, and all the top teams in the Premier League have all got money to spend. So it'll be interesting to see where he ends up. Of course, there's still lots of rumours flying around the duo that play for Sampdoria. That is Dennis Praet and also Joachim Andersen, both of them from Sampdoria. Arsenal still said to be in advanced talks with the duo. We know that Sampdoria want £44 million for both of them. And, you know, it seems like it would be a good move, particularly Andersen. You know what I mean? There seems to be quite a lot of other clubs as well looking at Andersen. He's very highly rated. When I look at him, a very tall player as well. I think he's about 6'2". That will help him in the Premier League. And seems to be a player that can really deal with the physicality. AC Milan interested in him as well. I heard that Tottenham are interested in him as well. So Arsenal may be keen, if they are moving for these two, to get this deal done as soon as possible. But this is one that we're going to hear about a lot over the next few days, probably in the next week. And that is Dennis Praet and Joachim Andersen. Both of them are Sampdoria. Will Arsenal get this deal done, or is it just rumours? We'll see. Now, another player of Arsenal been linked with, this guy of Nigerian descent. His name is Emmanuel Dennis. He plays for Club Brugge in Belgium. 21, still only a very young player. But he's had a very good season over there for Club Brugge. Scored 7 goals. It's not gonna, not a world beater with 7 goals, but it's a bit of a breakout season for him. And he's said to be valued at around about £12 million. And Arsenal, apparently, according to some of the rumours, have bid £12 million for Emmanuel Dennis. Maybe they're looking at him as a replacement to Danny Welbeck. Again, at the moment, just rumours. Let's see what happens with this. I did a poll yesterday. Squadron Mustafi, should we sell him or keep him? Put that one to you guys out there. Wow, this was overwhelming. 93%. I think I've not seen, that's the highest I've seen on any poll. 93% say we should sell him. Only 7% said keep Squadron Mustafi. So it's been quite conclusive on a lot of these polls that I've done. What you guys, would like to do. You know what I mean? There's quite a few players that you're just looking at and saying, look, just shift them out, and he's one of them. So Squadron Mustafi, if it's down to the fans, you'll be gone this summer, but we'll have to wait. So it does look like Arsenal are going to try and move him on, but what will they get for him? Remember, yet again, when I talk about the mismanagement, £35 million we paid for him. I think we'd be lucky to get 20. We really would be lucky to get 20. Now, listen, let me get into a few of your guys' comments. I've been promising to do this, to read out some of the comments. Let's get into this one. Mr. Flex 001 King, he said, Mustafi is an experienced, shambolic defender. Give him away. I think he's referring to what I was saying the other day, that, listen, he is an experienced, the one thing is he's an experienced defender. And you know what, towards the end of the season, he wasn't Arsenal's worst defender. You know, he wasn't Arsenal's worst defender. I mean, Socrates was a bit dodgy in some of those games in the run-in. So was Koscielny. So, you know, but obviously it's the sloppy nature, I think, of Mustafi, the way he just gives away chances and that, which really gets fans annoyed. Perry Wonka says, buy Saliba and send Mavropanos to them for a season. Of course, he's talking about Saliba, who plays for Saint Etienne. Saint Etienne said to want to sell Saliba to Arsenal, but then want him back on a season-long loan, which Arsenal was saying no chance. And again, there's Mavropanos. You know, he's not really had a chance yet at Arsenal. Seems to be a guy, though, that's getting injured a lot, and this is going to really affect him. I mean, he looks the part, you know, stature-wise, but we've not really been able to see him have a sustained run in the team. And maybe he is a player that would benefit from a loan move, but he needs to get the injuries sorted. Well, that's not, listen, he doesn't want to get injured, but it's just how it is at the moment. Manu Clerk says, here we go. He says, Dennis Pratt is pronounced Pratt, like A in bra. Greetings from a Belgian fan. Oh, you mean so Dennis Pratt. Is that right? Is that right, Manu? Respond to me, right? Dennis Pratt. Not Pratt, not Priet, as I've been saying. Dennis Pratt. I better get used to that pronunciation because he could be an Arsenal player. And last one I'm going to go with here. This is Invicta. He says, we need Upamecano and Saliba, #1 target. Their defensive record and or club position shows they are worthy of their prices. Pratt is okay. Pratt. Anderson is okay. They finished 9th in the league, so it's an all right signing. I've seen a lot of people say this when we get linked to signings and say, oh, they finished 10th in the league. They finished 12th. I don't think that is what Arsenal scouts and people that are watching these players are looking at. I really don't. Listen, where did Van Dijk and Southampton finish in the league? But, you know, he's still an absolute quality player, which Liverpool had to pay £75 million for, and look at the difference he's made. Listen, you can have top quality players playing in a team that's not great. It doesn't mean that they don't have the quality just because their team finished in the bottom half of the league or finished mid-table. That doesn't, you know, assess the player and not the team that he's playing for. And, you know, if these guys are good enough for Arsenal, if the scouts are looking at them and saying, listen, I can see the potential of Joachim Anderson, that he's done well in a very average Sampdoria team, but bring him to Arsenal, he could step up a gear. Why not? And if you did bring in Pratt and you brought in Anderson, remember they're going to be linking up back with Torreira. They knew him from Sampdoria. The three of them might slot in there. I don't know. Let's see how this one develops out, but I don't think you can judge it like how the gentleman there is just judge it and say, oh, they finished 9th in the league, so they're okay. Listen, thanks for watching the show today. We will be back tomorrow as usual. Keep those comments coming in here on Transfer Daily.